Mātuku tura ia kirunga mātukururu kirunga hoki ko te puinu erere nei ki te mānuka-nuka o Hutsuroa nau mai piki mai ki Manurewa.
Okay, and good evening everybody, and tonight on this It's in the Ballot show, these are your candidates vying for your electoral vote in the Manurewa Electorate, but with every election there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote. And kia ora, good evening and welcome to tonight's It's in Ballot show. We're here from the Manurewa Leisure Centre. If you're watching from home and you want to be able to make the drive down the road, feel free to fill it in. We've got definitely ample room there and more seats are coming out as we speak. So tonight we have 2 empty seats and 2 candidates here who will be vying for the Manurewa electoral vote for this upcoming election. And I'd like to introduce them and welcome them to the show. Now we go for. Now, do you shorten it to Hino or Hinurewa?
My full name is Hinurewa.
Hinurewa.
Well, I just need to correct you because I'm standing in for Siva, Kilari.
Yeah.
The Manurewa candidate tonight. So he sends his apologies. He can't be here due to whānau reasons. So I'm the Māori candidate for national. The Tamaki Makaurau seat, Hinurewa Tahoe. So kia ora.
And thank you for stepping in at the last minute, because I do know it was very last minute chop and change, but you know, we're glad we've got a semi-full house. And we've also got Caine here, who's is a Manurewa candidate. How are you this evening?
Oh, fantastic. Great to be here tonight, and thank you for filling in, because I would have been here on my own.
No worries.
Yeah, and yes, no, shows are very interesting when there's on the own. We do also have apologies from Arena Williams due to the notice. So we have ourselves not had the best chance to be able to give the notice to candidates there, and the Electoral Commission, we requested the information on September the 20th for the candidates to ensure that we have a nice, quick running of that. In case of many areas, the time when the Electoral Commission has given us the information, it has been a bit too late. And I do know it was on Wednesday, the Electoral Commission, the local returning officer Angel made contact individually with each candidate for both Tamaki Makaurau and for Manurewa Electorate to make sure that we can get the candidates there. Some have chosen to do it, some haven't. Arena Williams is one of the candidates who hasn't, and the other candidate was Rangi McLean. We have had no response or any response for as an invite for here, and it's a shame he's not here, but can't do much if they're not here. So let's kick off with Caine for your opening statements on why the Manurewa voters should give you their electoral vote.
Oh, kia ora koutou. Why you should give me your vote? Look, it's been a wonderful journey on this campaign in Manurewa, especially over the last 12 weeks. And the engagements that I've had just excites me around the potential of our families. Yes, there are certainly some obvious challenges, but we're not here to just talk about the challenges, but look at the opportunities. And I know with my proven track record, leadership is certainly something I'm really passionate about, and offering to our community proven results in the mahi that I do, local businesses that I run, also in the electorate. But most importantly, my family are here tonight also to support me, and I think that's the fundamentals and foundation of why I'm standing. I believe in family values and I want to see the best for Manurewa. Kia ora.
Okay, Hinurewa, would you like to start with your opening statement on why the Manurewa voters should give Siva the electoral vote?
Well, kia ora, and thank you for having me this evening. And I'm delighted to be standing in for Siva tonight. I'm just a little bit of a groupie and a little bit of a fan of his. So when he did ring me this morning and said, hey, Hinurewa, do you think you could stand in for me? It was not a question. It was, yes, of course I can do that. And the reason for that is because Siva has been working really hard in the electorate. He's a businessman, he's a whānau man, and he really wants to do the very best for this community. In fact, he sent me a little statement, so if I may, I'm just going to read it for you. He says, I'm aspirational for South Auckland and will work incredibly hard to deliver if I earn the right to advocate for Manurewa as its next local MP in Chris Luxon's national team. As a business owner, I understand we must support our businesses to strengthen our economy and our community. I'm really worried about the level of crime within our communities, health and education, and I want to do the very best for the community. So you will know that he has been out with his hoardings, human hoardings. You would have seen him at the markets. You know that his door is always open. So I go, vote Siva Kilari, national.
Okay, thank you for that. And we're just hopefully with a few tweaks and settings, we've electronically turned up the brightness on the computer software, as well as having the camera sitting down there and doing its job. So let's kick over for our electoral map here to show the voters in Manurewa where their votes are. Now, apologies on this end, because we've got a new camera person in there, we will have a little bit less zooming in and out, but I can give a good summary on there. So the Manurewa Electorate starts from the south in Weymouth and heads up to Clendon, Romandale, Leebank, and then it goes along Weymouth Road towards Manurewa, Manurewa in the direction of the motorway, and then the electoral boundary runs down the middle of the motorway until you hit the Manukau campus for, see multiple polytechnics around there. Okay, you find out something new every day. And then it weeds around the top of there along the southern ends of the boundaries of Papatoetoe, including the suburb of Puhanui, and then heads back along around where the tank farm is for the fuel, and then back around. Its surrounding electorates are Papakura, Takanini, Mangere, Otahuhu, Pamua, I might have that the wrong way round, and I think it's Tamaki. I can't see what the electorate names are looking at the map, and I'm not the best expert for Auckland electoral boundaries myself, but that is the good summary of it. Now let's get to the next part, the questions we think you'll be asking after watching today's show. Let's bring that up on screen when I have a camera operator that can actually put that on screen. Yep, sorry. This is what happens when you have a whole flood of audience who comes in at last minute, sitting there doing that. Chuck it on camera 2. We can put that on the main screen there. Okay, so the questions we think you'll be asking after watching today's show, I hope we can sit and see it on there. With 1 in 3 Kiwis upset with the big 2 parties, will voters give the electoral vote to a third party in order to make change? Question number 2, is New Zealand ready to become a referendum nation on each and every issue in every election? And number 3, how many crowns will we need for potential kingmakers and coalition talks after the election? So these are some very interesting questions we think you'll be asking after tonight's show. Now, while we get our good old question hosts back here, was it Terata? How are you this evening?
Welcome to the ballot, everyone here in Manurewa. Pretty exciting today, except for, well, anyway, we've got the candidates that we've got, so cool.
I know. And thank you for stepping in as a question host. It's great when we find locals, considering it was a bit all on the hoof of how we get things happening here, but I'm very pleased with what we can achieve. Okay, so how the show works is that each candidate goes one by one, picking box numbers and answering questions associated with the box numbers that are there. Each candidate, they have how many button cards did we decide to give? Because I think we did increase the number more from normal.
Yeah,
3 button cards. Okay, normally we'd only do 2, but because of the fact candidates are going to ask and answer more questions because of the number of them, and we also have given them 2 deferred cards, which I recommend deferring to the candidates who don't turn up. So that's how that's what we recommend there. So let's kick off. Caine, what box number would you like to pick?
Let's go for number 13. Let's go for number 13.
So box number 13.
How are you going to
What's the
address-
box number?
Number
C for
number
Charlie.
13. So the question is, how are you going to address the cost of living crisis?
Great question. So in my journey on the campaign, I've been door to door, and it's very evident with the cost of living, the impacts on our homes, which is rent, mortgage, food, fuel, all the basic necessities of life. And you can't help but not notice it, not only in what they're saying, but also just in the, in the way that they're talking through the challenges. How we're going to address that is basically we need to review the irresponsible, reckless government spending by billions of dollars. Like a household budget that I'm familiar, I run my own home. It needs to be able to fit to function, living within our means. Our government does need some parental supervision in order to help it perform better financially. And this is going to help to set up the next generation for success, not debt. And that's something very important. I think Vision New Zealand is always next generation minded. So the debt we have today is the debt that our children are going to have to wear or carry into their future. So we've got to be very serious about this question. Thank you.
And you want to use the button card? Let's kick it off. We've got our first button card on the first question.
It would be remiss of me if National didn't talk to this particular policy around the cost of living. This is something that Siva has been really focused on, how we ease the cost of living. National's policy is around tax relief to our communities, because we know how hard it is whānau are doing it currently. So National has a policy which is called the National's Back Pocket Boost Tax Relief Plan, which will mean that we're trying to keep more money in the in whānau's pockets, which will mean a family with young children with the average household income will earn up to about $250 a fortnight better off, and an average income household with no kids will be up to $100 better off. We will also get rid of new taxes, Labour's planning, so like the new fuel taxes, it would cost $8 every time you fill up the car, the income insurance jobs tax, it would further increase your tax bill. So look, all I would say to you is that if you feel like doing a bit of research, go onto our website, have a look at the tax relief, use our tax calculator, National's tax calculator, and see how much better off you will be fortnightly in your pack, because that's really important, because we know that we need to make sure that you earn better and you have some relief at the end of it. Kia ora.
Okay, now what box number would you like to pick?
So, number 2. Number 2, and we've got letter Kilo, number K, or letter K. What MP in the current parliament, not a party leader, do you admire and why?
I thought that was a trick question, but obviously it's not. I would have to say in the National caucus, it would have to be Judith Collins. And the reason why is because she's one of our longest standing members. She's also in Papakura, and I know she has been an amazing woman leader for women. And the fact that you can have a career, you can be in business, and you can still come out with some humanity. Kia ora.
Okay, Caine, what box number?
Let's go for number 21.
21. 21 T for Tango. Even though our state highways are managed by New Zealand Transport Agency, should district councils and residents have the final say on speed limits that they have imposed?
Yes, Vision New Zealand believes yes, those roads are best placed to inform the appropriate speed limits for the areas from locals. I don't have anything else to add to that question.
Well, that was very short, sharp, and brief.
Should I do a button?
Gee, you're going to use them up very quickly.
Well, you know, I'm a bit that way. And also, too, it's a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I've got 3. So, so would your party consider which one was it again? T.
T, even though our state highways are managed by New Zealand Transport Agency, should district councils and residents have the final say on the speed limits that they have imposed?
And locally, it will be Auckland Transport.
So government works with Auckland Transport on the speed limits. As you would possibly know with National currently, is that we've worked with Auckland Council on this, as with all our councils right through the country, and we are looking to increase from 30 to 50 in some areas, and we're 80 to 100 in some areas as well, and that policy has come out. That's all I wanted to say on that one. Kia ora.
Okay. So what box number?
Oh, me, again. 20.
Bravo, number 20. Do you believe that 16-year-olds have the maturity to vote?
No.
Well, that's short, sharp, and quick. Okay. And now we've got Caine using his button card, which I think someone online is saying it's a bit unfair, one candidate button, but doesn't know about the button cards, clearly. So Caine, what are you butting in on this time?
Yes, it is no. It should be 18 years old, and I guess I want to qualify that because I have a 19-year-old in my house and a 17-year-old. So they're on the verge of one is voting and one will be voting. So from the maturity of even my own children, I know that it's probably important that we keep the age of voting age 18 years old. I think they're ready to vote at that age. They're mature enough to understand challenges in the country. And yet our 16-year-old, let's just let them be young, let them grow into it, and the age of 18, they'll be able to make that vote.
Now, here's something where I'd like to put forward a supplementary. Currently, to join the military, so if you want to join the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force, you can start from age 17. Would 17 potentially be a better place, considering, you can go off to war at 17, but you can't vote to 18?
That's a good point that you make there.
It's better than the imprisonment one that everyone keeps seeming to referring to.
Look, I think it comes down to knowing our children and whether they have the maturity to be able to vote at 17 years of age. Certainly a year older means that there's a lot of growth that has occurred at that particular time, and perhaps 17 might be, but I'm with Caine on this one. 18 is the age. It gives our young people a time to mature, grow, understand and learn. At 16 and 17, they're still learning. By 18, they should have a bit of smarts about them.
And you want to add any 2 cents worth, Caine?
Well, no, because I got the approval.
No problem. I always wanted to ask that one that came on there. What about, military service? Because you can start from 17. And I do know someone who actually did. Okay. Caine, what box number?
Let's go for 14.
In for November. 14 in for November. What is your party's stance on the central bank digital currency, and will your party support the elimination of cash from the New Zealand economy?
No, we will not support the elimination of cash in New Zealand. Cash is king. Digital currency is another form of control. Control of your spending, control of your own personal choice. No.
Okay, Hinurewa, what box number?
21.
So 21. The old voting age at one stage.
Have you done it? Oh, 21's done. Ah, that's right. You did in the beginning. It's the age I'm feeling right now. In that case, number 3.
Number 3, Echo. Number 3, Echo. The future of local government report says a significant fund is also needed to support climate change adaptation activities. How is your party going to respond to this issue?
Well, look, national government will meet New Zealand's climate change targets by supercharging renewable energy, unlocking new technology to reduce agricultural emissions. We've just released our climate change policy, and I'm really pleased with where we're going. We know that so one of the things National is very strong, is really being big on in our policy and from our leader, is looking at what the targets are currently, making sure that we can look at the key drivers of emissions around agriculture, energy, transport and industry, and also to how we embrace new technology. So we'll look to ensure we have the infrastructure New Zealand needs to double renewable energy generation, and we will strengthen the economy in the process. Kia ora.
Thank you. Caine, what box number?
Let's go for number 1.
Number 9. Oh, no, number 1. That's all good.
Number 1, D for Delta. Number 1, D for Delta. Will your party review the relationships and sexuality education RSE in primary schools?
Yes, absolutely. Schools are there to teach our children the education. Then reading an article in a local media around the performance of our education in terms of like basics of maths and reading, we're underperforming. Our teachers are really trained to teach and educate our children around the basics, to give them the foundation that they need. Sex education and relationship education. Now, from a parental perspective, it belongs to the parents. It always has traditionally, and I don't see why it should change in terms of the parental responsibilities being given back to the parents. That's important, and I think anything else I need to add to that? Stop government overreaching into the parents' job to teach the children sex education.
Okay. What box number?
Box number 22.
22? I assume you're getting these recommendations from, was it Siva?
Totally, I'm channeling him right now.
21, Juliet. 21, Juliet. Number J, this is the future of the local government report says that the current local government funding and finance system is already under pressure and is not sustainable. How is your party going to respond to this issue?
Look, this is a local government issue. The legislation for local government is quite clear around this. But I suppose if, as a party, we need to sit down with our officials, we need to work out what the change of legislation, regulation and policy should be. But once again, this is around target solutions are required to funding solutions, and obviously around and rates remain as the main taxing point when it comes to what our finance models will look like. But I think this is an opportunity for us to determine what the new finance models may look like, but currently we'll have to stay with the main tax point of rates, for sure. That's a tough question, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very difficult issue for councils. Yeah. It's like people say live within your means, but at the same time, you're limited on how you can collect your income. Whereas central government, the sky's the limit, legally speaking.
Totally, absolutely. So, once again, it comes down to looking at I haven't read the future of local government report, so I'd have to go through and analyse it and see what their key measures and outcomes would be. But certainly, the best way to look at a new finance model is to work with our business analysts who don't cost a huge amount of money, and being able to work with our councils to determine what that new finance model will look like. And obviously rates is a huge thing for all of us. Some of us can afford rates, some of us can't. We need to be able to ensure that there is relief there within our rate system. I think through COVID we saw that, but that needs to continue on. Now that's a personal opinion, that's not a National Party opinion, so kia ora.
That's right, we love that. Caine, what box number?
Let's go. Number 9.
Number 9, Number 9G, number 9 golf. Do you think New Zealand has coped well with the COVID-19 pandemic? What lessons have we learned?
No, we haven't. Absolutely not. The health system is severely weakened. Lost many of our health workers that are now travelling overseas. I guess they've lost hope in their profession in our country. That's sad because we need them right now. Our hospitals are under pressure. The mandates have had the negative impacts on and are devastating. And I guess we should never ever be divided again like we experienced in the past 3 years.
So would that be considering, say, some long-term plan, like possibly opening up, say, if you want to become a nurse, no student loan? Could that be looked as a solution on the cards?
I think absolutely. That anything that is going to replenish and attract our youth and young ones into a career pathway into medical and that would be perfect.
You want to add anything to that as well?
Oh, I don't even have to use my button card.
No.
Oh, that's
If
very
I
good.
throw something out there, I'm a bit lenient on that one.
Yeah. Look, I think there are lessons to be learned from COVID, certainly, as we come through it. One of the things I think the big lessons is that how well our NGOs did to step up to ensure levels of vaccination and to make sure that they were the frontline services for our communities and providing care packs. And when you see that level of engagement with the communities, then government needs to make sure that those frontline services have the resources and the investment required to ensure that we have people there can continue, because there's a lot to be learned from COVID. And right now, the issues that we're having, some of the issues we're having is because it's post-trauma of COVID, and we've got to address that.
Right, now, what box number do you want to get?
Or is it me again, box
Yeah.
otherwise?
I know it goes very quick with these two
Goes very
candidates.
quick. I know, I'm having so much fun. 25.
Twenty-five Alpha.
Alpha, is that an A?
Yeah.
Phonetic alphabet.
Over the past few years, New Zealand has suffered from many forms of division. How would your party reconnect people and heal the divide so we are a united country once again?
Do you know what? I wrote defer. I was going to defer on it, but I won't. I won't get
Well,
angry.
you can defer it to Arena.
Yes, that's a good point. No. How would your party reconnect people? It's hard, isn't it, right now? Because, we're seeing right now, New Zealand, Aotearoa needs to heal, and we're not healing. And we see the racial divide is becoming bigger. We see racism at the forefront, and we see Māori and our communities being used as the football field, as they are saying. So how would our party reconnect? Look, I'm a national centre-right thinker. And for me, it's always been about what my levels of tēnā rangatira looks like. It's about equal citizenship. It's about taking my people with me. For me, that's Māori, because that's who I'm with. It's about ensuring that I can articulate well enough what a National Party policy looks like, then how it's going to enable our whānau, our families to grow, how we can support our rangatahi, and how we can be what I call tika pono aroha, show truth, love and honesty in everything that we do, which is so important. Now, these are cultural values that we don't talk about well enough at times, but perhaps sometimes we just need to get back to basics. Whānau ora is a policy that I am very much a supporter of, because it's about working as a family. It's a centric approach to everything we do around growth and development. And the only way you can do that is by actually understanding the needs of the communities, working with those frontline services, and being able to find out exactly what is required to progress things forward.
Okay. Caine, what box number?
Number 23.
That's a lot of questions.
23 Mike M. And the question is, what is the worst thing that has happened to New Zealand politically over the past 3 years?
Okay, here's the first thing. I would call it the death of democracy. And that is based on when had the parliament protest outside Parliament, and not one of the politicians actually came out to talk to the people. And they weren't just one group of people, they were an example, or I guess a group of people right across the country. Māori, Pākehā, gathered down at the Parliament steps. Not one politician actually came to address them. And I understand there was a cross-party agreement for them not to go down and talk to the protesters, the people of New Zealand. And that's when I believe democracy had its death notice. When Labour acknowledged that there was two classes of people and caused segregation, that was also a moment in our history that has changed the way that we interact with each other in our communities, in our neighbourhoods. People are fearful of one another, but that was planted by that particular ideology of separation and division. I say that with a lot of passion because I've seen it on the streets, and I've seen it in our community in Manurewa as we door knock. People are afraid to talk to each other. They don't share sugar anymore over the fence, or they don't even welfare check on each other anymore. It's a shame. But better days are ahead when you vote for Vision New Zealand, and particularly when you vote for Caine from Manurewa.
Okay, Hinurewa, what box number?
Oh, box number. I'm not sure what's there. 10.
So go for 10.
Ten L, 10 Lima. Health workers who work for Health New Zealand are still required to be vaccinated against COVID-19. If elected, will you change that law to remove this mandate?
Well, currently, National's policy on this is that while masks are no longer mandatory in most settings, they're still required in healthcare settings. So I suppose it's a question of what the need is, and if we're in government, we'll need to review it. Some places, such as workplaces, marae or special events, may ask people to mask up, but this is at their discretion. People may also choose to continue.
Lift the mic up a bit.
Oh, sorry. And if, in these healthcare settings, primary care, urgent care, hospital, pharmacies, age residential care, some of these are there in place to protect our frontline services as well as the community. So, that's important. But once again, I suppose it'll be reviewed what the need is and what our community says and what they require.
And Caine's using another button card.
Go, brother.
Got to use it. Yes, we will remove all the mandates and change the law relating to the mandates. This is again a part of this other question that I just answered around the division. The mandates have to go, and I really truly believe they need to, and that's the laws that are relating to the mandates as well.
Want to ask an additional question, because some people are going to ask, what about other vaccinations such as polio? What is the position with those vaccines? Because most those vaccines, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you need the polio vaccine to even attend a primary school.
Well,
or measles, that's the other big highlight that's just come in the last 24 hours as well.
I think we just have to remember that there are certain vaccinations that have been there for a reason. And so, but once again, it comes down to the family and whether they want to see their children vaccinated, and we've got to understand that. But there are vaccinations that are in for polio, rubella, cervical cancer for a reason. And, they're there to protect the welfare of our women and our children. So, we may not always all agree on this, but there's a reason why they're there. And so to lift the mandates on those would maybe seen as, irresponsible to our community at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Nothing more to add to that.
Okay. Hinurewa, your box number.
Me again.
I know.
Jeez. That's real quick.
That's all right. Should we ask Arena what her box number will be?
Yeah, what's Arena's box number?
I don't know.
Should we give her one?
I've got a phone number.
5. Let's go for number 5.
Number 5, hotel. Number 5, H. The question is, property investors often outbid first home buyers at house auctions. How would you encourage these investors to switch to more productive investments?
Now, is that to Arena or Rangi?
Let's defer it to Arena, shall we?
So, when you got time, Arena, on Facebook, please post your answer, or on YouTube, or on TikTok, or on Instagram. Property investors often outbid first home buyers at home. How would you encourage these investors to switch to more productive investments? And please use the hashtag It's in the Ballot.
Well, that worked well. I like that.
Caine, what box number?
Number 11.
Number 11, and we've got X-ray. Number 11, X-ray. What is your stance on the export of live animals?
Okay. Well, Vision New Zealand doesn't have a policy position on this particular issue, but we would say that the animals' well-being is first most important. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, Hinurewa, what box number?
I think 13's gone, hasn't it? No?
And 17, I think, is gone. So, oh, no, haven't both.
13's gone.
Let's check
No,
if they've got
13's
questions
gone.
in them.
Yeah, I think 13's gone. So in that case, I'll go for 17.
We do have a prize in the prime number box.
17, Alpha Bravo, 17, Alpha Bravo. AP. So the question is, what will your party do to protect the river and water systems from the slash from harvested forests around New Zealand?
Look, I'm sorry I don't have a good answer on this one because I actually haven't updated myself on the policy. But I think, as you know, if you've been reading, listening to the news on here, this is a huge thing for our communities down the Hawke's Bay area, right through the country around slash. I know that our party has been talking to those councils around what the legislation of local government in slash is required, because those corporates have not met the slash needs of how they look after slash. You know, Whitehall wouldn't be in the situation if the slash actually had been looked after, well, not looked after, but if actually they just cleared up their slash and actually piled it up as they're supposed to do, rather than letting our waterways get attacked, is the way they did. So I think with our party is that we're very well aware of that. If we look at our policies around our environment, this would be one of the top priorities to ensure that our corporate organisations are held accountable as to how they look after our forests, our waterways, etc.
Okay, Caine, what box number?
Number 6.
Number 6, Yankee. Number 6, Yankee. Letter Y. In your opinion, how well is the government managing the adverse medical and social impacts of the COVID vaccinations?
The current government is actually denying and not taking responsibility for the vaccine injured. And that's only because we've talked to people that are vaccine injured, and they've been ignored and left to their own to obviously try and find the support that's either medically, emotionally. It's tough for them. And I feel sorry for them, but we've got to do something about that and address that. So, yeah, Vision New Zealand will have to take that stand for the vaccine injured to address that.
Oh, Hinurewa, what box number?
4.
For Romeo, letter R. How effective do you consider the government's action on youth offending has been? How effective do you consider the government's action on youth offending That is good.
This is one I probably should defer to Arena again, seeing as this is a Labour, under the Labour government, is that they have not been effective at all in ensuring that our youth have the right rehabilitative programs. I mean, here in Manurewa and South Auckland, I can think of a number of programs that right now have a waiting list, and Labour are not doing anything about that. National will definitely be looking to ensure, once again, sound like a broken record, but that those programs, those frontline services that are working hard, actually that we are making sure that police education unit, working with our youth and our programs, our Māori Pacific programs, have the level of investment and resourcing that are required to get our kids out of the prisons into rehabilitative programs that look after them and make them successful in our communities.
Now, I want to ask the audience this. Can I please have hands put up? Who here knows how to drive a manual car? I love this. Got a full house on that one. Should we ban the importation of automatic cars, considering from what I've heard now, it might be different up here in Auckland, but I have heard in Wellington, I'm very sure it's in Auckland, the cars that are involved in ram raids seem to be popular automatic models. Is it time to ban the automatic car? Definitely got time for conversation there. Obviously, I've struck a nerve there. So, candidates, how good are you both with the clutch?
Fabulous. I love a manual car.
No, I'm not going to say I'm with the Ram Raiders, but no. I prefer an automatic vehicle because.
Oh, come on, man.
No, it's lazy, yeah, but lazy. I ride a motorbike, but I change my gears on the motorbike.
Okay,
But in the car, automatic.
It's a two-wheel, not a four-wheel.
I think it depends where you are. Like, I'll be honest, in traffic, an automatic is much nicer than a manual, but when you're on the open road, it is nice changing the gears.
There's no question, yes, that an automatic in traffic, stop, start.
Yeah.
But, you get a good workout on your left foot. I tell you what, it keeps it active.
It makes it sound like you've got a heavy-duty clutch in your car. Yeah. Okay.
I ride my clutch. What can I say?
Hinurewa, what box number?
Oh, me again. Jeez. Are you sure you had a number? 18. Make it a nice one.
18 Oscar. 18 Oscar. What is your party's commitment to conservation for the next term?
We will protect New Zealand's backyard. We have to. Simple as that.
And are we going to have a bit of a throwback to the 90s and Maggie Barry's garden show is going to be back with a new improved Maggie Barry?
We're not going to go back that far, but there is some merit in the Maggie Barry, the country calendar. But, look, conservation, it's part of the clean, green environment for New Zealand. We've got to protect our New Zealand backyard for our future generations. Simple as that.
I love some of the comments that are coming online. I love the one here. I'm sure the naughty kids can learn how to drive a manual car. I do like that one. It does take a little bit more work than trying to put the car into D and go. So, Caine, what box number?
Number 15.
Number 15, India. Number 15, India. Is government spending on cycling and cycleways a waste of money?
In the Manurewa Electorate, particularly in Manukau, it is a waste of money. More pressing issues than cycle lanes. It's not a priority at this present time in New Zealand as we face the cost of living crisis. Now, I just want to make a note. The current construction of the cycling lanes in our electorate are dangerous. I've seen firsthand witness a vehicle hit the barrier and go belly up on top of the barrier. Here's the other observation, because I travel that same road every day, probably 3-4 times a day. I see very few cyclists using the lane.
Okay. Hinurewa, what box number?
26.
26 Papa, 26 Papa. Would your party advocate for introducing a sugar drinks tax to help combat obesity, dental decay, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic medical conditions?
P for Papa, if that's what you're
Oh.
trying to look on the sheet.
That's P, eh? So the Ministry of Health has got really clear policies around sugar and making sure that in our, especially in our schools, that we have healthy food and lunches. So look, on that question around introducing a sugar drinks tax to help combat obesity, 2TK, I can't answer that. I don't know what our policy is on that particular area, but I do know that our Ministry of Health has been working in this particular space for quite some time. And I suppose the personal opinion would be is that, you know, if we're fortunate, if Siva's fortunate to be in the next government, is that this is an issue for him to take up for his community, for Manurewa, and this is something that's important to Manurewa, is that there's something to advocate and lobby for.
Now, here's some interesting facts to put out there. Trim milk has more sugar in it per litre than blue top milk. And we also worked out that coconut milk actually has less sugar than blue top milk in per litre. So that's something that might, of useful stuff there is, been running a coffee cart myself, you know, as you say, you can trust the barista being a journalist and a TV presenter, but hey, we can make it work. But that is some of the things we actually worked out when I was speaking to a Wellington candidate on that, because he asked me what were the sugars in the different milks. And yeah, we were shocked to find out that coconut milk has a lot less than cow's milk. Go and add, yeah.
Okay, I want to add to that because so just remember that the price of milk, though, in supermarkets and dairies, far exceeds a bottle of fizzy drink.
Exactly, that's so true.
And so, you know, as much as there is sugar in the milk is far better for your health than the 1.5 raspberry fizzy drink.
It's true.
How did you know I like my raspberry?
I worked you out.
Can we just have a little comment? Because, I mean, the thing is that this comes down to education, doesn't it? Education with our families and our whānau about healthy choices. And so, you know, like when my daughter was growing up, I didn't let her drink Coca-Cola, for example. Lemonade was my choice. Not too sure. I still don't like Coca-Cola today because of what it can do. And we've seen many things. But when you consider the high percentage of Māori and Pacific who have diabetes, is that then we do need to cut out the sugar, the fructose, which is a problem for our kids in our schools. And so I think, you know that question about advocating is that we need good data, robust data, which you've presented, that give us the facts so that we have informed decisions around making sure healthy choices for our whānau are understood.
Okay, Caine, what box number?
16.
Number 16 Sierra, number 16 Sierra S. Would you or your party consider giving a fixed percentage of GST tax revenue to help fund local councils on infrastructure projects?
Absolutely, we would. And I just want to make mention on my campaign journey, I did meet up with the local Manurewa board and the chairperson and vice chair. It's very apparent that there's a lack of representation from the local MP, from central government to local board. They've made comments that we have in Manurewa some of the worst recreation facilities in a community and an electorate of the whole of Auckland. And so the only way that's going to change is if we actually address that by getting a central government representative that actually has an MP's office, for an example, so that we can have some access, we can have some dialogue and talk even locally as voters, but also the local board. And so that's some of the feedback that they're giving me. They had their challenges with central government.
Want to ask to add to that. Now, I've come from Wellington where we don't have a super city. We have a regional council and a city council. But one of the things I do know that the Kapiti Coast has is they have community boards which effectively act like glorified residents associations. Is that kind of the feeling we're getting from the community board structure in Auckland? And is it time to say, devolve a bit more power to the community board so they can actually deal with local issues, considering we've got a super city structure in Auckland, not we haven't got the Manukau City Council anymore?
Would you like an answer from a local host?
Go ahead.
So in 2010, when the government formed the super city, what they have is called the governing body, which is about 20 wards across the region. So we don't have a regional council. We've got a governing body, and then they share power with 20-something local boards. So essentially, it's supposed to be that local boards and governing body have the same power, but actually GB's got $2 billion worth of budget, and local boards have considerably less. So that devolution thing would be really great, but governing body makes it really hard.
It's not written in the legislation that governs.
It's in the budget, but not the legislation. So yeah, that's the challenge.
Oh, well, that's good. We've got a local perspective. Candidates, you want to add your 2 cents worth?
Is that in relation to this question?
Oh,
Steve, or
and more of
just
an
in general?
add-on to the question, because I noticed what Caine said earlier about the community boards effectively being toothless. And is that a good way of describing it?
As being a director of Tātaki Auckland Limited, who's on sabbatical at the moment, you've got, council control organisations and you've got your local boards. Depends on where the budgets are coming from local boards in the communities, but our local boards do a huge amount of work, and they've got to make sure that they keep their funding to be able to deliver the services for the services into the community. If Auckland Council cuts their budget, then that has an impact on you and I and how things work. So, the thing around % of GST tax revenue help local funds doesn't work. It has to be about where government funding comes, what rate taxpayers do, and making sure the allocated budgets and resources are there for the local boards to keep doing what they do, which is building our school, our playgrounds, our gymnasiums, our local centres, our fields for sports, all those sort of things, which can only come through through the local boards, not because council sets the pace. Auckland councillors set the strategy, local boards do the implementation.
Okay. Now, what box number?
It's always the same. 27.
So 27.
27 Alpha Alpha, 27 AA. So 27 Alpha Alpha, 27 AA. With the downturn in the economy, many small businesses are struggling to stay afloat. How is your party going to assist them through these tough times?
Okay, so I'm just going to go to our economic policy, which is around rebuilding the economy currently, because National is very focused on rebuilding the economy, showing that our businesses, which are the backbone of Tamaki Makaurau, currently we've got 24,000 Māori businesses within Tamaki Makaurau. So National knows our future will be built on the hard work of Kiwis and businesses and communities up and down the country. It's the government's role to support that with infrastructure, education, sensible regulation, and disciplined government spending. So that's why this election is so important, because National we are planning to deliver support to Kiwis and make it easier to have a go, easier to invest, easier to innovate, easier to employ, and easier to take a punt. So, most of our policies that we have there are focused on growing the pie for us all. Kia ora.
Thank you. Caine, what box number?
Number 12.
Number 12, Victor. Number 12, V. And the question is, what do you think will be the main issue that will decide this election?
By looking again at the debates that are going on with the big parties, particularly the Prime Minister and the National Party leader, and some of the debates, it seems to come down to now trust Trust has got to be earned. In the community right now, there's not a lot of trust. And it's evident that through even Manurewa, traditionally a Labour seat, the trust that I see through people is that they no longer trust Labour. And so I think the important thing around that too is they need to follow through on their word. I think there's the policies that have been given out right now across both parties. It's like a lolly scramble. Been race baiting. There's using the gangs for politicizing. I think that doesn't help. Doesn't help people. Doesn't help groups of people, communities at all. So I really think the key word for this election is really trust. Can we trust you? You can trust me.
Hinurewa, what box number?
Oh, 7, please. Nearly there. This gone quite quickly.
Number 7, number 7 whiskey. If you do not become a politician, what is your dream job?
Oh,
When did this question get put in?
that is
I like it.
That is the best question. So look, if I'm not a politician, my dream job is actually to continue working for the community. My kaupapa has always, I was raised in a whānau that was always about giving back to the community. Wasn't educated for no reason, and that way in service to community. So I've come from the arts, culture and heritage sector, creative economy, cultural and creative sectors. So I look forward to going back and working in that particular space. And going back to my dream job is that I have a foundation called the Matariki Cultural Foundation, which works in the world music space. And I've been able to work with our young rangatahi and our future musicians and getting them overseas and travelling, because I love to travel. Perhaps I'll just leave the country a little bit. Yeah, kia ora. That is a brilliant question, thank you.
Okay, Caine, what box number?
Number 24.
Number 24, Quebec. Number 24, Quebec Q. What is your party's position on the Three Waters reform? Do you have an alternative model?
I was going to defer, but no, we won't defer. We'll address this one.
Yes.
We don't support Three Waters. We're not giving this asset to a third entity. Local and regional councils need to be involved in the Three Waters matters and decisions. Strategy that is accountable to the public, that involves cooperation between central and local governments. And by the way, it's actually free waters, God's gift to all.
Yes, use the button.
Yeah, I'm going to butt in. I've just used up my third button. But for the Three Waters, National have committed that they will review the Three Waters because we don't believe in the current legislation that has gone forward. It was moved too quickly, so we will look to review the whole Three Waters reform.
Now, what box number?
28.
Uniform, 28U. Do you support the right to women's safe, legal, and timely access to abortion in New Zealand?
It's a tough one, isn't it, that question? Because abortion is actually a woman's right. That's my personal opinion. And I think it's our policy's right as well. It's whether you're pro-choice or pro-life. But if the woman chooses to do that, yes, they need to be safe. They need to know that they are safe, but then it's their choice to do it. That's my one on that one.
You want to use your button?
Yeah, last one. This election is, from what I've experienced, it's the first time I've got into a campaign. A lot of what I'm hearing is based around economics, my money, my pocket, what gains I can get, and I understand that. But there's also the moral issues, and I speak on behalf of the Christian community. And Vision New Zealand is all people, but founded on Christian values. We're pro-life, and we will repeal the harsh abortion law, increasing pro-life education and learning, but also establishing a mana wahine facility that obviously supports our women through the pregnancy, through birth, also through adoption, and also supporting them through with a push gift of $2,000 to recognise them bearing the child and bringing this beautiful child into this beautiful world. So I'm just saying that on behalf of pro-life. I know there's a lot of divide on this issue, but it's very important that I had to just make that statement on behalf of Vision New Zealand as well. Thank you.
Kia ora, Caine.
Just want to quickly ask, where does Vision stand when it comes to things like miscarriages during the pregnancy? It has been known that if you do have a miscarriage during a pregnancy, keeping the non-living baby in the body to a full term can be detrimental to the woman's health. Would that be one of those processes where, because it's technically classed as an abortion to remove the dead fetus from the body, but what for miscarriages, where would you draw that limit?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'd rather see the woman live to tell the tale than potentially have something go wrong, as that has been seen a lot in the United States, where medical procedure says one thing, but the law has gone the other direction that says they've got to fly, say, from Texas to California to have what should be a life-saving procedure. So where's the line when it comes to that sort of situation?
You will rephrase the question?
So effectively, if there's a miscarriage, miscarriage, sometimes there's 1 in 3 pregnancies miscarriage. Some do happen post 20 weeks, which is the one where it's not quite you've got to go for a surgical procedure normally to.
Can I just stop you on that question? As a woman, I find that quite hard, because at the end of the day, is that when a miscarriage happens, it's not a woman's choice, whether it's pro-life or pro-choice.
Exactly.
Right? Now, I know Caine will answer that, and he'll answer it eloquently, but you have to remember, when a woman loses a baby, and I have lost 5 in my lifetime, it is not my choice to lose that pepe. There is a difference between pro-choice and pro-life. Pro-choice means is that I carry my whakaaro, my personal opinion, and which will be different, and I respect what you said, Caine, is that if I had an unwanted pregnancy, it is my choice to choose, be it my religious beliefs or not, and I am a Catholic girl, but I go down the women's rights side of things, which is not where everybody sits, but we have to respect as women each other's point of view and choice at the end of the day. Kia ora.
So I must have to answer the question. So it's her choice.
Yep. Okay, thank you. That's something that's goodly sorted. Okay, what box number, Caine?
Number 8.
Number 18, Foxtrot, number 18F. And the question is, number 18F, current information from overseas indicates that vaping is not a healthier alternative to smoking.
I really wanted this question.
Children of primary school age are becoming addicted. What is your party's plan to address this health concern?
He's deferring.
Deferring.
Yeah, to me, which is cool. Yeah, and the reason why, and I'm very happy to answer this one, is a few weeks ago, our spokesperson, who Matt Ducey, came and met with myself, Mahesh Muraltaha, who's the National Party candidate for Auckland Central, and we met with a group of parents and principals on this exact subject, and it was really disheartening and saddening to hear the issues that the principals are having with vaping in the schools currently. The vaping problem amongst our young people is very real and upsetting, meaning children as young as 8 is happening in our schools. I can't believe, no longer is it about alcohol. This is actually not, it's detrimental to our health. It's hard on our parents, on our at the end of the day. And I can't believe how big this nationwide problem appears to be falling currently. So they feel that this issue is falling on deaf ears. The great thing about having Mike Ducey in the room was that we don't have a policy currently here, but he sat and he listened to this group of mothers. And there certainly is really good to know that there is vaping, I've forgotten the name of the group now, Vaping Mothers, I think it is, who will advocate and lobby hard to see that there is a change in these rules. Currently, there is a discussion around whether this vaping should be prescription, and that is something yet for our party to decide on. But I was really delighted that we were able to sit and talk and understand more about this particular issue, and that if there are others out there who have feeling the same, that they can come and talk to Siva about this, and that Matt Ducey will be our first Minister of Mental Health, because the mental health issues for our young people is becoming so heightened. I still don't understand well enough. So thank you.
Okay, and box number 19, I gather.
That's my age, yes.
I thought you said you were feeling 21 earlier today.
Yeah, I'm getting younger every time.
19 Zulu, 19Z. The question is, successful organizations always have continuous improvement programs. What improvements will your party make in the next parliamentary term?
Well, look, this election is all about economic policies, and I'm delighted to know that our leader, Christopher Luxon, along with Nicola Willis, have prepared for us a really robust economic policy that will address the growing the economy, our infrastructure, climate, education, and health. And that we've got a 100-day plan of the things that we're going to look at in the first 100 days. As to what the improvements for the party make in the next parliamentary term, who knows what they could look like, in the sense of what they could look like, because it's not until you're in government and that you're in there as a member of parliament, as Siva will be. Yes, Siva, member of parliament for Manurewa, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, and same with myself, is that then as we work as a caucus, we'll be able to determine what needs to change and what we need to do better and be better at.
And thank you, candidates, for exhausting all questions. Can we please give them a big round of applause? What we like to have here is have having all the questions gone. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you back in 10 minutes' time for hard-hitting questions. And welcome back to It's in the Ballot. Now it's time for hard-hitting questions. Okay, so hard-hitting questions are the questions we get every candidate on stage. I'd like to ask the ones who aren't on stage, but they're not here tonight, so you can leave that to your imagination, or you can sit there and ask them yourselves on social media. And hey, we're encouraged to hashtag It's in the Ballot. So with hard-hitting questions, these are questions that could be a bit topical for the community, and we want an answer from every candidate. Now, one thing is here, candidates can't use in the button cards, well, because they're already going to be answering the question, and it's no point using your defer cards because, well, you defer it to someone who's already going to be answering it. So we've got two hard-hitting questions this evening. Our first hard-hitting question, what is the most pressing issue in the Manurewa Electorate? Let's kick off with Caine. I think you might have, you've seemed to be very good, well-versed with the door knocking.
Yes, the most hard-hitting issue facing Manurewa, according to a research done, is crime. But also I can validate that from knocking on doors, visiting local shops and businesses, it's crime. And so I know National and Labour have a similar offering to the voters, around 300 extra cops. But that's, to me, that sounds like a scratch record. We've heard that before. We need a new approach. What I've observed also in our community is visiting some of our organisations and social service agencies, Māori Wardens, Manurewa Business Association, and also community leaders, coaches of clubs, rugby, pastors, the whole lineup of what I call community champions. There's enough resource to pull a group together and begin to address crime, boredom of our young people, giving them youth activities, programs. So Vision New Zealand would like to be able to provide family support because the crime is coming through family breakdown. And family breakdown needs to be addressed by our programs and resources, but we need the funding from our central government to provide them the funds to do the work that they need to do, especially with our whānau in Manurewa.
Okay, Hinurewa.
Thanks, Sam, for this question. Siva Kilari, who's your candidate for Manurewa, has sent me 3 key bullet points. So I'm just going to read them and share them with you. His first one is around living cost has increased so much that our families are spending a lot of time working or seeking financial support from other means to put food on table and meet weekly, fortnightly or monthly expenses. Tax relief is what's going to support and help our communities currently. We have a significant amount of children who are not in school or pursuing further education towards a better future for themselves. We need our parents and community groups to encourage education for our whānau to secure a better future for themselves and build emerging leaders. Agree with Caine, Siva agrees with Caine, crime has become so loosely managed right now. It needs a framework that can also encourage offenders to become better citizens, manage more engagement for police to reassure the safety of our people, especially our elderly, is needed. And I'm just going to add to that, is that in a community like Manurewa, you need your police, you need your local communities, you need your Māori wardens, all working together to address the crime issue.
I want to ask, before we head to hard hitting question number 2, how many community constables are in the area? Community constables. I mean, I remember my one being Mike Tahiri from the Paraparaumu police station. Very good guy, very well in touch with the community. And I was wondering how many local...
Well, I'll find out and let you know. I don't know the exact number, but I can find out. I've got a relationship with Manurewa Police.
Okay.
As I know, we don't actually have the community constable like we used to have it, but I know that talking to Mark Mitchell and to some of our other colleagues, candidates, is that the request to have the community constable back on the beat, who used to know every single family and anybody who used to offend, would be a good thing for our communities. Yeah, bring back the community constable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I actually remember when my 5-month stint in Shannon, everyone knew the local cop there as well. So it was quite a, I mean, that's the small town where you have a 1-2 man police station. They kind of do act like community constables.
Oh, they were great. I can remember when I was a young girl, I did something silly. And,
so what we're actually saying is that our current police, approach is not working.
No. That's clearly pointing it out, yeah. Okay, so hard-hitting question number 2. Central governments increasingly communicate with citizens via emails and texts. Therefore, non-computer literates visit the library for assistance. Changes to central government practices and legislation impacts local communities, which councils are expected to deliver without funding. Do you believe that central government should form partnerships with councils to deliver central government services? If so, how should these partnerships be funded? Hinurewa.
Well, that's why you have local government and you have a council and local boards who actually fund a number of these the visits to libraries and assistance. So that's what they're there for, local community boards, to be able to support that. But if you're looking at central government and what central government can partner with, then the answer would be this, that government will partner with local governments to create city and regional deals, to create long-term pipelines of projects to increase economic growth and productivity. Siva has let me know that we need to unlock land for housing by requiring councils in major towns and cities to zone land for 30 years worth of housing demand immediately. and provide housing performance incentives for councils with a $1 billion fund, which National is committing to, for building full growth incentive payments for councils that deliver more new housing funded by stop-fail programs like KiwiBuild. So that's where the level of partnership should be with local government and central government. When it comes to the community services, we've got to make sure our local boards have the funding to be able to fund at that level.
Caine.
The answer is yes, and there should be partnership funding, keeping the funding local with good accountability. And again, I've done a really good job of getting around the community and meeting with organisations. Some are funded, some are not funded. A lot of unsung heroes out there in the community that I believe if we had advocacy and some good management from a local level, we could actually raise far better potential and even service providing on the front line regarding our families. As I mentioned earlier, got to say it again, family breakdown is a big issue in Manurewa, crime and safety, and I guess if we had that resource without it being clipped, the ticket being clipped too much, so it doesn't get to the actual funding that it's allocated for the community, projects, programs and outcomes, then I think we would be a community that would felt supported by central government through down to local government or council or board. And so I really feel that that's really important to address on behalf of frontline workers, especially within social services.
And thank you for your answers there. Very informative. Okay, now we're off to my favourite part of the show. What would be the first members' bill you put in the biscuit tin? Now, every non-executive MP is allowed to sit there and put a members' bill in the ballot, and they get picked out randomly and they get put on the members' order day paper, which happens every second sitting Wednesday on a sitting week calendar. Now, Parliament does have some weird ways of doing things because they typically tend to sit 3 weeks out of 4 weeks in a month. I do know school holidays, they take a 2-week recess period, so those MPs who are parents actually have them line up for school holidays and actually be decent parents, because you can't sit there and send them off to school. So those are the sorts of things that happen in there. But we basically, every member is allowed to sit there and put in a members' bill. A good example of one recently went through was Ginny Anderson's was it bereavement leave bill for miscarriage, which was to treat miscarriages in the same way as a death of a living person. Previously, there was nothing that was governing in the law, and it sat there and brought it in line with a live person dying. Family member, I know the Holidays Act says that if it's an immediate relative, it's 3 days, and if it's a non-immediate relative, it's 1 day bereavement leave for the employer to provide. So it's lining that up in the same boat. So, Caine, you have 2 minutes for what will be your first members' bill you'll put into the biscuit tin.
My first members' bill would be the launching what we call the Ministry for Men's Affairs. We currently have a ministry for women, for children, and for family, for the Auckland Bridge. And I really believe that a Ministry for Men's Affairs would be something that we as a country could benefit from. Reasons being, where there are men underperforming in areas of mental health, employment, our justice system as an example, there needs to be attention given to that, and also resource. I really believe that the improvement of our men contributes to the improvement of our family. We register very highly, and I put my hand up as a man here tonight saying that with domestic violence towards our partners, our women and our children is something that is of a shocking nature. That needs to be addressed. It won't take up any more government money, because what we'll be able to do is to work across other portfolios in the government to actually provide a solution around where men need to perform better. Things like, for example, providerhood. Providerhood is a traditional value of men providing, protecting their families. Something that I do in my own mahi, and I believe that a policy and a ministry would be validated in our current government to give our families a far better support and structure by having a far better responsible man. And finally, adding to the Ministry of Men's Affairs, also one of the biggest challenges we face in our country right now is fatherlessness. Fatherlessness is a big problem facing a lot of our families today. And when we talk about Ram Raiders as an example, a lot of the young men attribute not having a father present in the home. With the Ministries of Men's Affairs as a policy, that would be able to help address some of those root issues and bring solutions to our country as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Sounds very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that being drawn one day. Was it Hinurewa? What would be Siva's first members' bill?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to ask Siva this question as to what his first members bill, and I wouldn't like to assume. But you may have seen that he's been in the papers just recently because he has, in his campaign himself and his team have had moments of where they've been, what's the word? Sorry, pardon?
Campaigning.
Well, they've been campaigning, so I just lost my train of thought. Where he's been out campaigning, but he has suffered intimidation in this election race and has himself, the issue around law and order and crime. So, and he's come out about this and he's talked about it and what those issues, what that has meant for him. He has said, I like to keep an open door policy, that even if he's not the member of Manurewa, he would like to keep an open door policy and still be able to talk to people to know that they've got an ear to listen to. So I'm going to make the assumption that perhaps his first members bill may be around crime and reducing the levels of crime, because obviously for him, that's what he sees as the biggest issue. And that's why he told the National Party they needed to make him the candidate so he could address that. And also too, because he's also seen the increase in antisocial behaviour, graffiti, illegal dumping, which means it changes the charm of Manurewa. And as a businessman, and if there's any business people out there in the community, you know that Manurewa is a great place. It's got great things happening around it. So therefore, to be able to make sure that the community here in Manurewa feels safe and that people can come and visit this community, I would say would be very high on his priority. I think as a businessman, he would want to increase the number of businesses that are here, that they know that this is a place that they can live, work and play. And so he will want to see that that continues and that the town centre is attractive and interesting and fun, at the end of the day. And so I think he's got a really good handle of the communities of our Samoan, Indian, Māori communities, and he's working really hard with that. So I think he will also want to address the race card as well. As an Indian man who came here 20 odd years ago to set up his business in this community and work with the communities of interest that he best serves. So I think with Siva and what I know of him and what I've got to know through his campaign, that his members bill will cover an area of crime, community and business.
Thank you. Okay, let's get time for closing statements on why the Manurewa voters should give you their electoral vote. Caine, would you like to start off?
Yeah, kia ora Manurewa. Look, I'm here tonight, standing in your electorate, Manurewa. I really believe in our community. It's a champion community, and right now my hand is up to lead. Leadership is something that I put down as a part of my campaign, but also a part of what I do for the community. Also engagement. Engagement's crucial right now with the social divides and things that happen in our community, breakdowns in communication. We need a person on the ground that has engagement skills, has a compassion for the people, and wanting to see the community do better than what it's doing currently. I see the challenges and I feel your pain, but we can't stay in that place. We've got to empower to rise up to be better. Better is a part of what I carry. I'm seeing better families. I want to see better homes, better living conditions, better, safer streets for us and our children to walk to their parks, walk to their schools without the intimidation and fear of people hurting them. And I just want to see that As a candidate, I'll do everything that I can to serve you and your community to get you the very best. So thank you very much for your support.
Hinurewa. Closing statement on behalf of Siva.
Closing statement on behalf of Siva Kilari, your National Party candidate for Manurewa. So the statement is this, is that as a National Party candidate for Manurewa, and in talking in the discussions with Siva, is that he is committed to easing the cost of living. He wants to see incomes increase. He wants to see better employment for our youth, and he wants to see better infrastructure as well. And he is committed to all those things in ensuring that our communities of interest address the issue of crime and feel safe in their homes and on the streets of Manurewa. Siva Kilari is a good man. He is committed to the campaign. He is up at 6:30 in the morning, and he is still on the doorstep at 6 o'clock at night. And his team, he has 100% behind him. His story is one of rags to riches story for him. He's a businessman. And so I would say, if you want somebody who's got your back, Siva Kilari has got your back in this campaign. Kia ora.
Thank you. Just want to address, there has been concern about the buzzer that goes off. We're in a limited download speed in the area, so some of the features that normally would be in studio that are online are not present here in order to make sure there is no data transmission issues with our footage, because our download speed for this location is about 3 megabytes per second, but our upload is close to 20. Anyone who knows anything about data and all that knows that, our download speed is slower than what ADSL one was back in the early days at some point, which feels a bit weird because we're in a fibre world now. Now, just before we go, Terata, you would like to...
Yeah, kia ora tātou. On behalf of all of our voters, it's important to thank, first off, the Ballot Show for coming all the way to Manurewa. Thank you very much for giving us as voters the opportunity to hear from our candidates. To all the online viewers, thank you very much for making this happen. And a huge, huge mihi to our studio audience for engaging in this process, engaging in this kaupapa. And last but not least, hat off to every single person standing in Manurewa, all 4 of them. It's a really big challenge to do that. So hats off to every single one of you. Thank you very much to the 2 that actually showed up here tonight at in the ballot. Tēnā kōrua, and thank you very much everyone as we sign off on It's in the Ballot.
And thank you for stepping in as question host. It was only walking in, meeting you, and Jill managed to talk you into it. And thank you for sitting down there and giving us that local experience that, put it this way, I personally wouldn't know. I'm in an area that is very, I'm not as politically aware what happens in Auckland. As I say, this is the most far north we have gone. And now it's in the Ballot Show before. And I mean, last local body elections, the furthest north we went was Otaki. So, and I mean, anyone knows where Otaki is. It's, what do you call it? Was it within a 90-minute drive from the Beehive? So it's quite a bit of achievement here, because I think by driving, we're probably 9 hours to the Beehive.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, on a good day. If you get a bad day, it could be 12. Yeah. Now, we do have a few more shows coming up. We've got Auckland Central, which is tomorrow at the unusual time of 2:30 p.m. if you'd like to tune in online. Then we have the Manurewa Electorate at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday if you'd like to tune in online. And we also have the Pakuranga Electorate also at 7:30 for those who want to tune on online. Now, here's something we've got to give. We are 8 days away from voting. And I've just had a QR code for those who are watching online. Those who are in here won't see it, but we can sit there and get it out. We're going to be having our election night show, and we'd like to know if you could ditch watching Channel 1 and Channel 3 and watch It's in the Ballot election night show, where we will be with different candidates, and you can have a watch a party with the crew and various different people who will both be both in studio and connecting remotely from different parts of the country, contributing their bits to it. We'll have a bit more of a community appeal. We might have a couple of political commentators, but we won't be flooded with political commentators. Have it on the night, see what's happening with the different candidates happening, and see what's happening all over the country. So we're going to be having that. So if you are online at the moment, you can scan the QR code that's on one of the corners of the screen. I'm not exactly sure which side. And you get your Eventbrite tickets, which will email you the link of the show so that you can actually watch that live. Or you just sit down there and wait for It's in the Ballot Facebook page to go live. Because we would love to have your audience on there. And, let's look at it in a different way, Let's watch the way It's in the Ballot runs an election show tonight. So fingers crossed, and I think we've got a few keen people in the audience who seem to be, wanting to ditch TVNZ and media. Was it TV3 for It's in the Ballot? So yes, now we're going to make it for the night. Thank you, candidates. Thank you, the crew. Thank you to Ian and Jill for running the show here. Terata for being question host, and Stacey for doing the remote editing all the way from Wellington. As I say, this is a bit of a team effort, and even that, we're in, Auckland, we still got Wellington making things work on all things here. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. for our Auckland Central debate. Good night.